Hare Krishna. So I welcome you all to the session 4 of the Bhakti Pravesa program. And the topic of today is Susrusu. And, or in other words, it is service attitude. So this is a very, very core topic, actually, of all the Sadachar topics put together. Yeah, it's a very, very important theme. So in the first session, we have learned about Atma Shaucham, the purity of mind. The second session, we learned about the attitude of respect. In the third session, we have learned about, what was the previous session about? What was the last session? Anybody?
Dhamma.
Dhamma or sense control.
Self-control.
Self-control, right. So today's session is about service attitude. Yes, Monica, right. So today's topic is service attitude. So this world is in great need of leaders. And of those leaders who just don't have the love for power, but who have the power of love. So I repeat, the world is in need of leaders who don't have the love for power, but who have the power to love. So what is this love? Love is not a noun, it is a verb. Yeah, it is something that is shown in action. Classically, it is said to love means to serve, and to serve means to please. Yeah, this is true love in action. Yeah. So, and the best way it is we experience this love in this world is that of the mother's love. Yeah. So I just turned on the Zoom link, and I think the very first person who joined is our Kavya. She's a mother of 2. Yeah, and she has such a small baby. Yeah, and the mother's love to the child is an example of unconditional love that we experience, right? The number of sleepless nights a mother goes through, yeah, the anxiety she takes for the child, being attentive to every need of the child, 24/7, yeah, without any reward. Yeah, actually, once the child is born, the first 2 months, the child doesn't even smile. If any of your mothers here, yeah, no reciprocation also. The child just, drinks the milk and just sleeps. No smile. It's the first time the baby smiles at almost 2 months. Yeah. So the example of the mother is example of the most unconditional love we experience in this material world. So then how is this love felt? Yes, it is through an action. So love is a verb, not a noun. Action of, and this action is called service. So service is extended in different realms. Yeah, it is extended to the family, just like how mother serves the children, or the father serves the kids, or the father serves the mother. Service is everywhere, whether you serve a family, your community, or your country, or some people may claim that I don't serve anyone. But even if it's a king and everybody is serving him, he himself is serving his own mind and senses, if he's not serving God. Yeah. So the Shastra says that, it's the very nature of the soul to serve. Yeah. But whom to serve is the free will. Yeah. You have no choice not to serve. You essentially serve. But the choice is, do you want to serve Maya, that is the illusory aspect of the creation, or will you serve God, Krishna, the reality? This is the only choice you have. We cannot be without service at any point of time. Either we serve Maya or we serve Krishna. This is the only choice we can make, whom to serve. But service is natural, yeah, to every living entity, to every person. So, to redirect this serving propensity to the original source is what is the path of yoga. Yeah, the path of yoga is to redirect this power to serve or this propensity to serve back to the source. And that's the whole purpose of yoga. Yeah, to reinstate ourselves in our original position of being an eternal servant to God. Yeah, that is the statement of the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Jivera Swarupa Hoy Krishnera Nityadas. The very identity of the living entity is to serve Krishna. And what is serving Maya? What exactly does it mean to serve Maya? Serve Maya means to operate from the false ego. That is identifying ourselves with this body and the senses. And then through that, to serve different relationships that are in relation with this body and mind. Yeah, this is serving Maya. Then what is serving Krishna? By understanding that our true position, that yes, I am the servant of the Lord. And to serve the Lord is my nature. Yeah, with this understanding, if one begins to serve from wherever they are, then this is called serving Krishna. So serving Maya means being in illusion. Serving Maya means leading to frustration at the end of the day. Yeah. And because the object of our service is perishable, so that leads to something called frustration, no matter how much we serve and how well we serve. But what is serving Krishna? Serving Krishna is coming back to our position of eternality, because any service that is rendered to the Lord is something in, an eternal asset that we have acquired. Yeah. And it brings a person closer to true knowledge. And the result of such a service is ananda, pure bliss. Yeah, that is never ending and is always expanding. So this is the two differences, serving Maya and serving Krishna. And what is the outcome of each? And the choice is up to us. So in the entire, if you see the scriptures are all about great examples of devotees who have expressed their power to love through the medium of seva or service. The power to love is the most immaculate power a living entity is invested with. And when that is utilized for its real purpose, that is to serve the Lord, a person understands one's own true potential. And through that potential, when one willingly, voluntarily becomes an instrument of the love and compassion of the Supreme Source, then it brings about great good to the humanity. So in the scriptures, be it Ramayana, the Mahabharata, the Srimad Bhagavatam, is full of examples of this service attitude. And today I would want to explain this in the light of the Ramayana. Yeah, taking a small episode from this and how the devotees of Lord are invested with this beautiful characteristic of seva bhav or service attitude. So Hanumanji, the entire life of Hanumanji is, it shines as a brilliant example of what exactly is it to be a good servant. So Hanuman's teacher was Suryadev. I mean, Hanumanji learned from different teachers, but one of the prominent teachers is Surya Bhagavan, yeah, the sun god. So it was not so easy for him to learn from Suryadev, because by the time he went to Suryadev, that year's admissions was full. Yeah, there was no place on the chariot. Suryadev actually travels on a chariot around the Meru mountain. And when he teaches inside his chariot, and there is only sufficient place for a fixed number of students. So by the time Hanumanji went, the admissions were closed. So Surya Bhagavanji said, this year the admissions are done. But Hanumanji was so eager, so eager to learn. So this is what it means to be eager to learn. Yeah. So Hanumanji was so eager to learn from Suryadev. He said, that's okay, even if there is no place in your chariot. I will be simply flying and I will hear from you. So Suryadev took the admission. And Hanumanji was such a brilliant student. Yeah. He absorbed everything that Suryadev has spoken. And at the end, once his coursework is done, so it is the expression of a student's love and gratitude to the teacher to offer something called Guru Dakshina. Yeah, which is, we see even, of course, when Lord Krishna has finished his studies under Sandipani Muni, he wanted to offer some Guru Dakshina. So, Sandipani Muni gave a mega task to bring back his dead son. Because he knew who Krishna was. He can do, if he gives him a small task, it's not befitting his position. So he gave him such a big task, bring back his dead son. Similarly, Suryadev has given a service to Hanumanji. A very testing service it is. So Hanumanji approaches Suryadev and says, "Oh Suryadeva, please order me. I'm your servant. I cannot repay for what you have taught me. Yeah, but please let me know how I can serve. What Guru Dakshina I can offer you." At that time, Suryadev says, "Just serve my beloved son Sugriva." Then Hanumanji agrees and he goes and serves Sugriva. And why this was a test? It's because Sugriva is actually much subordinate to Hanumanji in terms of knowledge, in terms of realizations, in terms of his advancement. Hanumanji is way, way superior to Sugriva in all ways. But just because Suryadev has instructed him that you serve Sugriva, be his minister and just counsel him and be there for him whenever he needs you. Just because he has instructed, the rest of his life he agreed to take that position of a servant of a person who is much inferior to him. So this was Hanuman, and this is service. So service means not what I like to do, but what my master instructs me to do. So we see this also very much again in the example of Hanumanji in his interaction with Ram. So when Hanumanji and Sugriva were present at the time of a situation in the Kishkinda. Yeah, Kishkinda is the place where Ram meets Vali and Sugriva, and Ram makes allies with Sugriva and kills Vali. And then after Vali is dead, the whole Kishkinda is in a state of emergency. So at that time, since the task was done of finishing Vali, Hanumanji approaches Ram and says that, from now on, I will be with you. Please let me come and serve you. So Hanuman, at that time, Ram says, no, Hanuman, be with Sugriva. Yeah, Kishkinda needs you and Sugriva will need you now. Because now is the time, this whole state is in a state of emergency. So you need to develop the military and do a lot of filling the gaps and plugging the loopholes in the systems. So your need is more present for this army of Kishkinda. So you have to be here. So at this, Hanumanji, interestingly, and this is the sign of a good servant. What is a sign of a good servant? A good servant does not go by what his heart says or what he wants to do, but he simply understands the desire of the master and executes that desire, even if it is against his own desire or will. So Hanumanji says, yes, no, jo agya, whatever you say, whatever pleases you, my lord. And then after that, he takes up his role and he executes it meticulously. Yeah. So after Vali was killed, there is a period of 4 months called the Chaturmasya period. Yeah, in this Chaturmasya period, Ram stays in the Malyavanta Parvat, where he was just meditating on the names of Sita and just remembering her intensely in separation. On the other hand, Sugriva, who has promised has made a promise to help Ram, he just gets sucked into total sensual pleasures, and full mood of party. After a long time, for a long time, he's been deprived of all the kingly pleasures. So he at once takes a big dive into these pleasures. And he's simply drowning and drowning, drowning in the pleasures, just forgetting his promise to Ram that he would help him. Ram. See the contrast. Yeah. So Hanuman, although his heart is with Ram, although his heart says that he wants to be with Ram and be in his physical presence and serve him personally, but still, simply executing the order of Ram, he takes care of every detail of the Kishkinda kingdom. And he starts working on it, and he starts making it fully re-equipped. So as days roll by, and Hanumanji understands that, the Sugriva is forgetting his promise to Ram. Then I'm thinking that, if he forgets almost 3 months pass by, and Hanumanji feels that if Sugriva does not remember his promise, he's going to be in a big soup. So let me just go and remind him, shake him up from his slumber and awaken him to the reality of his own responsibility. So this is again a sign of a good friend. Yeah? A good friend is somebody, who really wishes the good for their friend. See, Hanumanji didn't think that, if I leave Sugriva now, he'll be in a soup, then yay, nice happened. No. Sometimes we think, we think, no, this is the racist mentality. We get this sometimes, being a product of our own education, we get into this whole rat race mentality that if any of our friends is being let down or going through a tough phase, we take it as a reason to celebrate internally. Yeah, I know when in college, there was a girl, who's a topper of her entire class. Yeah, and every exam she used to top. Then one day, the next day was the exam, and when she opened her desk to collect her notebooks and take them home for for the final revision, she saw that all the pages of her notes were torn. Yeah. So some girl, out of envy, because she is the topper every year, for every exam, she just tore her pages and threw them away. Yeah. This is how, people can really manifest their envy. Yeah, so envious if somebody is succeeding. Yeah, and so happy if they're not succeeding or if they're failing in some way. So Hanumanji is a genuine well-wisher of Sugriva. Foreseeing, see, not that, he fell into the soup, or, he got into difficulties and then he went and empathized with him. No, he could foresee his situation. He could foresee the trouble he was going to get into. And he proactively went to help him. Yeah. So this is service attitude. Service means not just how we serve our superiors, but also how we serve our peers, our friends, and how we serve our subordinates. Yeah. So in every role that we play in our life, be it as a devotee of the Lord or a disciple of the Guru, or as the wife of a husband, or as a mother of the children, or as a teacher of a student, or as an employee in an organization, any role you play, if you just simply keep the essence as service, then what you do is no longer material, it is spiritual. Yeah. So Hanumanji carried this service attitude. And when you have the service attitude, then in every relationship that you are, you're bringing the best of yourself and you're bringing the best out of others as well. That is the magic of service attitude. Yeah. So you can change the entire atmosphere from an atmosphere of exploitation and selfishness to an atmosphere of love and giving and happiness. So this is what Hanumanji, as a genuine well-wisher, as a genuine friend, as a genuine mentor, and as a genuine servant of Sugriva, thought, no, I should wake up Sugriva from his slumber. So Hanumanji walked into his private chambers. Yeah. So, sometimes it takes this kind of real bash, shaking up some of us, our friends, who are getting lost in their own world. So Hanumanji goes into the inner chambers of Sugriva, and he just pushes opens the door and he enters inside. So at that time, Sugriva was on his king-size bed and he was half drunk. And when he noticed that somebody has entered into my chambers, he just gets up from his bed, in anger, thinking, who could enter my private chambers? So when he got up from his bed, he was half angry and half drunk. He couldn't make sense out of it all. But when he tried to open his eyes from a distance, he saw Hanuman. Then he understood, oh, it's Hanuman. He can do anything with me. Then he asked, I know his anger just went away. And then he asked, Hanuman, how come you're here? Then Hanumanji comes and he tells Sugriva, Sugriva, do not forget your promise to Ram. You will be in great danger. Yeah. And he says that, if do not wait until you have to be reminded by Ram of your promise or what you have to do. He says any work that you have to do, especially according to the law of dharma, any good work that you are supposed to do or any promise you're about to keep, if you wait until the time that you are reminded of it, it loses its merit, even if you do it. So don't wait until Ram comes and reminds you of this. Get up, take action. So you have promised Ram that you will help him to find Sita. And he's waiting for you, there in the Malyavant Raghunath cave. And you're just lost in your own pleasures. Yeah. And he says, no, don't think that Ram needs your service. Yeah, Ram is such a great personality. He is capable of, turning the earth upside down to find his wife Sita. He can tear apart the sky and none of the gods can even combat him. Yeah, nobody is equal to him. He can do anything just by his sankalpa. Do you think he needs your help? But you have promised. And it is to keep the integrity of your promise, you have to go and help. In saying this, he tells Sugriva, and by offering your service, you're having an opportunity to express your gratitude. And it is something so rare. Don't miss it. So at that time, Sugriva wakes up a little and he calls all of his, he calls his commander-in-chief, Nila. And he says, just bring together all the Vanaras. There are 10 million Vanaras all around. So bring them all together and get the army ready in the next 15 days. So he does this much, and again he gets back into his same situation of again he gets back into his own pleasures, his own sensual pleasures. But later on, again Lakshmana comes. So when Lakshmana comes and wakes him up, he comes in his Raudra Rupa because Sugriva again forgets his promise and he again goes into his enjoyment mode. So after a while, after almost a month after that, Lakshmana comes and was just boiling in anger. So at that time, he would have finished off Sugriva, but the only saving grace is this homework that he did because of Hanumanji. Yeah, because Hanumanji's good friendship, and timely advice, it really saved the life and honor of Sugriva. Because when Lakshmana came, he was so furious. It looked like as if the anger jutting out of his eyes could have finished the entire, could have burned the whole Kishkinda into ashes. But what saved is, at least, he could, his wife Tara said, no, Sugriva did something. He was working on your project. He gathered all these Vanaras and she shows. So that's how Sugriva was saved. So in this way, Hanuman used timely advice as a good friend, saved Sugriva. So in this way, Hanumanji in his role as a servant of Lord Ram, and as a friend, as an advisor, as a mentor to Sugriva, he's done his role selflessly and proactively. So this is how, when we study the various characters in our scriptures, we understand what it means to serve. Yeah. In the Mahabharata, we see in the story of Draupadi, when Queen Satyabhama actually visits the Kamyavan along with Lord Krishna, when the Pandavas were in the period of exile. So Satyabhama and Krishna, they come to this place called Kamyavan, where Yudhishthir Maharaj, along with great sages like Markandeya Rishi and all the stellar personalities, were sitting and going through deep discussions for the welfare of humanity. So at that time, Lord Krishna comes along with Satyabhama. So when Satyabhama and Lord Krishna come together and they come towards the Pandavas, I know that Yudhishthira Maharaj receives Lord Krishna and he offers his respects. And at that time, Satyabhama actually, and Draupadi, they go into the inner chambers of the forest and of the ashram where they were living, and they have a very heart-to-heart discussion. This is a very beautiful episode in the Mahabharata where Satyabhama and Draupadi were having a heart-to-heart discussion. So Satyabhama inquires from Draupadi. What does she inquire? Oh, Draupadi, how is it that all your husbands are so obedient to your will? You have captured their hearts, and although they are the heroes of this whole world, so powerful, they're totally captivated by your grace, and they can do anything to win your heart and to please you. Tell me the secret, how you have kept all your husbands in the captivity of your heart. How you have won over them so much. Did you do some kind of a magic? Or did you use some kind of a magical herbs to cast a spell on them so that they are forever, sold out to you? Can you please share the secret with me? In this way, Satyabhama really inquires from Draupadi, how she actually captured the hearts of the Pandavas. Then Draupadi hears this inquiry from Satyabhama, and instead of feeling great about it, she feels a little disturbed with this query. So Draupadi tells Satyabhama, "Oh Satyabhama, please listen, that there are no shortcuts to win the heart of your master. And any such shortcuts or using some kind of devious means, like casting magic spells or using magical herbs, that will only put off, the master or the one whom you're serving, and it will only distance you more." And she says, there is no shortcut than genuine service attitude towards the one whom you want to please or express your love. And saying this, she tells about her own example. I always keep aside my own lower natures when I have to serve them. I keep aside my own envy, and I serve my husbands along with their wives whenever they visit. I keep aside my anger and my own selfish desires. I keep aside my own preferences when I have to serve my mother-in-law Kunti, be it in terms of food or be it in terms of clothes or anything. I put their need and their desire in front of my own. Yeah, and going, and she says more and more details. I personally, I do not ever wait for a situation where, they have to wait for my service. Yeah. And I never dare to look upon them with an anger, with angry, even, angry or displeased eyes. Yeah. I always keep my gentleness, curbing my own, anger whenever even it comes. And she says that I personally take care of their finances. And it is only me, apart from the Pandavas, who knows the details of entire treasury of the Hastinapur. And I personally know about all the servants who are serving my husbands. Yeah, all the thousands and lakhs of servants. I know most of their names, not just their names, I know their talents. And I engage them in the service accordingly. Yeah. And she says that I keep a track of the service of all the servants, who has to walk ahead of the king, who has to walk behind the king, and about the various shepherd communities and the cowherd communities. All these, I take care of them personally. And I am the first one to wake up, and I am the last one to sleep. Yeah. In this way, taking care of every detail of every service, with utmost care and with utmost alertness, I try to appease them as per their desire and taste. So this is how I conduct myself. And so I'm saying this, she also says, and not just, and your desire to win the heart of your husband, Lord Krishna, is so genuine. And how you do that? And she continues telling, always be alert to any opportunity to serve. And she says, the moment you hear the sound of your husband at the door, immediately get up from your seat to go and receive him. And do not, and when he orders the servants to do something, yeah, you yourself be personally present to do that service. Yeah. And he says, always, be the best friend and the well-wisher of your husband, and never be friends with those whom your husband do not like or dislike. And he says, there's also another important instruction. Don't associate with those women who are not dedicated to their husbands. Yeah. In this way, maintaining your own purity of association, maintaining your integrity and maintaining your enthusiasm to be ever ready to serve, you will definitely win the heart, the friendship, the goodwill, and the love of your husband within no time. So, and there is no other shortcut than genuine service attitude. In this way, Draupadi tells Satyabhama, about her own self. So when Satyabhama hears this, she feels so happy and so proud of Draupadi. She immediately goes and embraces her. And she tells, oh, Draupadi, for great women, for great chaste women like you, difficulties cannot last long. Today, maybe, you're in this situation of being in the forest in an exile. But very soon, owing to the power of your chastity, your purity, your pativritya, very soon your husbands are going to regain the throne and seated as the kings and the emperors of the world, and you will be their queen. It cannot be otherwise for the virtues that you carry in your heart. Saying this, Satyabhama expresses her profuse happiness and, her own expression of her appreciation of her virtues. Saying this, Satyabhama, then, Krishna comes and he calls for Satya, and it was time to leave, and they, go on their chariot, which is drawn by their beautiful horses, Shaibya and Sugriva. They go towards their kingdom Dwaraka with all these beautiful lessons that, given by Draupadi to Satyabhama. So this is what is details of seva, Service means not just doing something, but doing something with an attention to the details. So Draupadi is as an empress of the Pandavas, she could have just been a queen sitting on the throne. But no, she's on the throne sitting there because of the virtues that she has, because of the service attitude she has. Yeah, although she's in the command of the power, she utilized that in executing so many services in so many different ways. Similarly, each and every one of us is invested with some power and some control over, a particular zone or realm. And how we utilize that power, that sovereignty or that control in a way of bringing out some beautiful service out of it. Yeah, bringing out some positive outcome with it. It's so much dependent in our own hands. So, as some of you are, most of you are students, or some of you are professionals, yeah, and some of you hold some positions in different companies. Yeah, you have your own circle of influence. Yeah, so that circle of influence is the power that you're invested with. Yeah, and when you utilize that power in the mood of service, then it can bring great good to the people around you. This is not a new topic. The topic of servant leadership, it is very, very popular in the Western countries as well. Yeah, what is a servant leadership? These are some seminars given to even big CEOs. Yeah, it speaks about leadership as not an opportunity to exploit, or leadership as an opportunity to simply, use your power in the wrong ways, but leadership is an opportunity to serve the interest of those whom you're serving. Yeah, servant leadership as a management concept has been given by a person called Robert Greenleaf many years, maybe a century ago. Yeah, though he has given this term servant leadership a century ago, but the concept is quite old. Yeah, but this is a very, very popular topic in the management circles, servant leadership. Yeah, because this is ultimately what makes a leader last. Yeah, makes a leader leave a legacy, makes a leader a true leader. Yeah, not just a management boss. So this is what we see in the Mahabharata. And even if you turn the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam, there are so many examples of what is genuine service attitude and how it has really brought great good to the person who's serving. So one such example, actually this word Susrusu is taken from a verse in the Bhagavatam where, the service of Devavati to her husband Kardama Muni has been glorified. Yeah, Vishrambhena Atma Shauchena, Shamena Cha Dhamena Cha. Yeah. So Vishrambhena Gauravena. Yeah, Vishrambhena Gauravena. So how Devavati has served her husband Kardama Muni has been described. Vishrambhena means Atma Shaucham is purity of mind, and Gauravam. Yeah, Vishrambhena means with intimacy, and Gauravam means with respect. So this is the right flavor of service. So there are two extremes. Sometimes we get too intimate with a person, and we, because of which the attitude of the service takes a backseat. Yeah, if you become too intimate, then you begin to take things for granted, and then this attitude of service is gone. Or the other extreme is respect. It means maintaining a very formal relationship and not showing intimacy. So this is not very pleasing to the person who is receiving your service. So the right service is a flavor of intimacy and respect. And an expert person, especially one who is expert with relationship, is a person who can bring in a right mix of these two aspects. Yeah, the right mix of intimacy and respect. So intimacy and respect, when these two are intertwined in the right proportions, the resultant service that manifests from such a combination is very pleasing to the heart of the person who's receiving our service. So this is so between a wife and husband or a guru and disciple. Yeah. So that is through intimacy and respect. So Devahuti is one such great personality in Srimad Bhagavatam who has served and pleased her husband Kardama. So who is Devahuti? Devahuti is she's the daughter of Swayambhuva Manu. And Swayambhuva Manu is the emperor of the whole wide world. Such a position. And then Devahuti she was brought up as the most delicate princess, of Swayambhuva Manu. And she was so beautiful that when she used to go on the terrace of her palace and she was playing with a ball, there used to be Gandharvas who used to fly in their aerial chariots, and looking at her excellent beauty, they used to, be so bowled over, they used to fall away from the chariots, being totally stumped by her exquisite beauty. She was so beautiful. And Gandharvas means, Gandharvas are known for their beauty. Gandharvas are those celestials who are known for their beauty. The Gandharvas and Kinnaras. They're famous for their ability to sing in the arts and, for their unparalleled beauty. It was for those Gandharva men to fall for Devahuti. But she never used to care for them. And why she never cared for them? Because she used to hear from Narada Muni regularly about the glory of God and glory of the process of devotional service and the importance of having a devotee partner in one's life, to actually connect to that supreme person. Yeah, because for a girl, post-marriage, her life revolves around the priorities of her own husband. So then Narada Muni, when he speaks about the importance of bhakti as the process, and also having a devotee husband as a great means to achieve these ends, she was very inspired. Then she made up her mind that I will only marry a great devotee of the Lord and serve him. Yeah, so that will be my dharma. So that's when she hears of Kardama Muni, who is performing great tapasya in a forest. That's why Manu all the way, he takes his daughter and his queen in a palanquin. He reaches into the interiors of the forest, and as a father, he proposes the marriage, and he hands over his daughter to Kardama Muni, and he goes back. So at that time, imagine Devahuti being she came out of the palace as a delicate princess, and she has entered into the forest and been handed over by her father to her husband. And from then on, she began to serve Kardama Muni unconditionally. And let me tell you, it is not so easy to serve a yogi, because it's very easy to serve somebody about whom you know what they eat and when they eat. Yeah. But a person who is lost in meditation, who's lost in tapasya, you don't know when they will open their eyes. Yeah. You don't even know when they will eat the food. And it is the Patni Dharma that you don't eat before your husband eats. Can you imagine in what position Devahuti is? She's a princess who's been fed very nicely and raised in all opulences with so many retinues of servants, always ready to fulfill every need and demand of yours unasked, totally pampered. Yeah, you just desire for it and you get it. That's the life of a princess. And now, after marrying Kardama Muni, what is her life? Her life is she is the servant, the only servant of her husband. Yeah. And you don't get any direct instructions from the husband because he's always in meditation. Yeah. And you have to wait until he opens his eyes or instructs. And even if he instructs, what is available in a jungle? Even for water, you have to walk a long distance to the river and go get the water. There is no proper house to live. Yeah. And for fruits or vegetables, you have to go searching in the forest. And who is she? She's a queen. She's a princess of the whole world. The most delicate person. So in this way, many, many years have passed when Kadambari was going through this tapasya, meditation on the Supreme Lord. So when he actually opened his eyes and he saw his wife, the same Devahuti, whom he saw was, a woman with totally disheveled hair, her full skin in wrinkles, and being thoroughly scorched by heat, tanned by the sun, and wrinkled because of the harsh winters. And she's lost all her glamour, all her charm as a princess in the process of serving. So that was how unconditionally she was just serving him without taking care of her own personal needs. So this was, that is why she's glorified in the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam as an example of service attitude. Because a person who's like oneself is, most dear to one's own self. So she gave up the attachment to her own needs, and that's how she served her husband unconditionally. So Kandamuni became so pleased with her service attitude, which was filled with love and unconditional surrender, and without any demand. That he reciprocates with such a in such a magnanimous ways. He takes her to a beautiful lake called Bindu Sarovar, and then because of he's been in the tapasya for a long time, he acquires a lot of supernatural powers. So with those supernatural powers, he gives Devahuti such unimaginable pleasures, that are that a queen like her deserves, and even much more than what she has ever expected in her own life. So he takes her to Bindu Sarovar, and he tells her, you can take a bath here. And when she enters the Bindu Sarovar, she was escorted by many fine Gandharva ladies, and they give her a beautiful some drink, drinking which immediately she regains her youth. And just like a spa, they dress her up and they do all the fine beautician work, and she comes out of the Bindu Sarovar back in her youthful sheen. So at that time, Kandava Muni, with his magical powers, with his mystic abilities, he creates a big, huge aerial mansion. Pages of Bhagavatam describe about the exquisite nature of this aerial mansion. And on this aerial mansion, he takes around all the places on a world tour, to the Nandan gardens, even outside the earthly realm. All the beautiful gardens which are visited by the demigods, which are full of beauty and in its unparalleled in its scenic excellence. So this was a reciprocation of Kardamuni for the unconditional service attitude of Devahuti. So in this way, whenever we render service without any expectations, the rewards are high. But selfless means one does not expect a reward. But the person rewards us much more than what is expected. So this is what, the relationship between Krishna and the devotees, the relationship between Krishna and the gopis. The gopis love Krishna so unconditionally. They only want to serve him. So much so they never look for their own enjoyment. But Krishna reciprocates their love and fills their heart with so much of bliss, so much of enjoyment, that even though they don't want enjoyment, they're forced to receive the enjoyment of Krishna's love. So, and then the emblem, it is said the emblem of such devotional service is Srimati Radharani herself. She is the embodiment of Seva Bhav. If there is a Seva Bhav in the living entity, it is coming from the original loving nature of Srimati Radharani herself. And it is by her mercy that alone, by her mercy alone, that a Jivatma will be inspired to choose to serve Krishna rather than serving Maya. So that is why the whole key to this shift, to this U-turn, is the mercy of Srimati Radharani, who is the embodiment of pure devotional service. When she gives the mercy, then this madness or this kind of desires arising from the false ego to serve the self is converted or transformed into true service attitude of serving the Supreme and not one's own self. And this can be catalyzed or transformed, or this can be inspired by the mercy of Srimati Radharani. Okay, I will end here. So, and I will just summarize what all I have spoken today. Today, we have tried to touch upon the topic of service attitude, Susrusu, and we have taken the examples from Ramayana. So in Ramayana, whose example did we discuss about in service attitude?
Hanumanji.
Hanumanji.
Hanumanji. Yes, Hanumanji and his.
Suryadev.
Okay, yeah. First is towards Suryadev. That is how he served the instruction of his guru. Yeah, unconditionally. That is to serve somebody who's subordinate to him. Imagine what kind of a purification of ego it is for a person like us. But since Hanuman is already a pure soul, he did not have such kind of a discrimination. Yeah. So first was his serving the orders of his guru, Suryadev. Second, how he served.
He served Lord's instruction by staying back in Kishkinda.
Wonderful. Yeah. How he served the instruction of Ram against his own desire. Yeah, because his desire was to be with Ram, but Ram said, you be in Kishkinda and help Sugriva. So here we see how service is not what I want, but what Krishna wants or what God wants. Yes, another example, another explanation of Hanumanji's service.
His service to Sugriva as a friendly suggestion.
Yes, excellent. His service to Sugriva as a friend. Yeah. So in these three positions, we see how Hanuman exemplified service attitude in such an amazing way as a disciple to his guru, as a devotee of the Lord, and as a friend and a mentor of Sugriva. He's exemplified service attitude in a brilliant way. Yeah. So that is something we learned from Ramayana. Then from Mahabharata.
Draupadi's service to the
Draupadi's
Pandavas.
service.
Yes, Draupadi's service attitude towards her own husbands, the Pandavas. I mean, we can just begin to imagine what is her level of service attitude or her pativratya, that the wife of Supreme Lord Krishna himself has come to take lessons from her as to serve the pati. Yeah, that was her exalted nature. So yeah, we have seen the example of Draupadi as to how she served her husbands with attention to detail, with alertness, and with a friendly heart, and also at the same time keeping in control all the lower natures of envy and anger. Yeah. And then yes, we have seen also in Srimad Bhagavatam the example of
Devahuti and Kadam.
Devahuti. Yeah, Devahuti, she's the example of the perfect mother, I mean the perfect daughter, perfect wife, and the perfect mother. Yeah, so as a perfect daughter, she was always, she served her father by being subordinate and to his will, and then the same service attitude carried on towards her husband. Yeah, I just wanted to end with this. Once, I won't tell the name, yeah, but once there was a girl who was very enthusiastic to be a part of all the programs that were happening at the ISKCON temple. Yeah. So one But one day her father did not allow her to go to the Janmashtami celebrations in the temple, yeah, because he was worried about her safety. So the Guru Maharaj, I wouldn't say the name, yeah, he was inquiring why this girl, she was very, active in all the services. So her presence is really felt. So he asked somebody why this girl did not come today. So this person said that her, Maharaj, her father did not allow. So that Maharaj was pleased with the attitude of the girl. He said, who can be an obedient daughter will in future be an obedient disciple to the Guru and an obedient wife to the husband. Yeah. So we think spirituality means a rebel at home and something else in the temple. Yeah. No, it's the same attitude which carries everywhere. Yeah. So it's very deep. I mean, it has many layers of understanding, but this is something we can appreciate. Just what will please our superiors is a genuine attitude. So this Swamiji, he was so pleased. An obedient daughter will be an obedient disciple in the future, and an obedient wife of the husband, because it's the same you and the same attitude that will carry. Okay, thank you all very much. I will end here. Any question? Quick question. Okay, Saraswati asked a question. In reality, as human beings, we cannot always serve someone without expecting. Very good question. Anything from them. Example, when we pray to Lord, we always expect something in return from Him. So how we serve someone without expecting anything in return, as expecting is a basic nature of a human. Very deep, very profound question. And you have really understood the nature well. So the one solution to this is, when we keep our expectation or our goal as service to the Lord, then all equations fall in place. Like we see in place of Hanumanji, he was dedicated, his goal was service to Ram, and everything was aligned in that situation. I mean, towards achieving that goal. Yeah, like whether it was, bringing back Sugriva to senses, even reprimanding him, alerting him. His goal is simply to please Ram. So when our goal is perfectly set, then our expectations also, in fact, become favorable for the growth of the other person. Yeah. So expectation is a reality, but how to deal with them? Number one is to keep our goal as pleasing the Supreme Lord or service to the Supreme Lord. When we are situated in that goal, then our expectations from the people around us will actually turn out to be, in their own favor, and it will enhance the growth in them. Okay. And so that is having the, that is how our expectations will prove beneficial to the people around us. That is when we are well situated. And number two is we should identify, this is a very practical way of dealing with expectations. I mean, one way is to get into the position of becoming a true devotee of the Lord. And until we get there, how do we handle or deal with expectations? It is by make a discrimination. Are my expectations realistic or are my expectations unrealistic? Okay. First, in a relationship, this is one homework one should do. I'm having an expectation on this person. All right. But are they realistic or are they unrealistic? So if they are unrealistic expectations, then deal with them internally, understanding that, this is not appropriate on my part to have an unrealistic expectation. And if your expectation is realistic and is not being fulfilled, you have an open communication with the person. Yeah, be it with a friend or with a partner or with a boss or whosoever, have a communication. These are my expectations, and they seem to be realistic according to me. And if you also find them realistic, can we do something about having them fulfilled so that our relationship runs smoothly. An open-hearted communication always helps and works. And from our side, as we grow in our devotion, our expectations on others also will bring about the good in the person. There's a beautiful book called, The 7 Laws of Learner by Bruce Wilkinson. It's a book for the teachers. Yeah. In that, he has written 7 laws that a teacher has to follow to be a good teacher. And in that, the second law he writes is the law of expectation. And in that law, he says that the teachers should have high expectations and they should set good expectations from their students, and they should expect the best from their students. So be it a teacher or as a parent or as a good friend, always have best expectations. And why we should have good and best expectations? Because eventually they live up to such expectations. So sometimes parents say that, you are like this, you will never, tum kabhi sudharogi nahi. You cannot be changed at all. You will be like this. This is such a wrong way of dealing with the child. Huh? When you say like this, the child will actually live up to that expectation. So on the other hand, if you communicate positive expectations to your dependents and subordinates, in a subconscious way, it actually enters into the heart of the person whom you're dealing with, your student or your child or your friend, and they grow up to live up to that positive expectations. Yeah. So this is how we handle expectations. Expectations is a natural part of being a human and being in a relationship, but they should be well managed and well channelized to bring out the best from the other person and positive energy from your own heart. So expect the best. Okay, I hope that answers your question, Saraswati.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Haribol. Then, okay, next. Yeah, somebody wants to ask? Somebody speaking?
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah.
Mataji, I really love the point that right flavor of service is with intimacy and respect. But oftentimes, as a female, we are more emotionally attached. We get emotionally attached. So, when we are doing something with those emotions, the intimacy part is high. Then it is again taken as granted. But when we are doing something mechanically, okay, I have to do it as a duty, then it becomes like a formal relationship. As you said, the respect part will be high. So how to find that fine line between this, to balance this intimacy and respect?
Very nice question, Vandita. Very thoughtful. Yeah, so I can say for sure that you are sensitive to the attitude of service. That's how you could get this. Okay, so there is a tendency to tilt to one side, either to become too intimate and forget the responsibility of serving, or to become too respectful and become too formal and not have that juicy element of appropriate intimacy in expressing one's service. Yeah, this is how everything is. In a conditioned state, we always fall in extremes. Yeah. So, but as a person matures forth, and especially in relationships, one develops an acumen in understanding the sensitivities of others. Yeah, in understanding the heart of the other person. Yeah, especially if you're serving, a legitimate relationship like between a wife and husband. So this kind of a service attitude with the right flavor, it develops over a period of bonding, over a period of truly knowing each other. So, and as such, initially it starts with respect. Yeah, because respect is foundational. So without respect, the intimacy will soon turn into familiarity. So, and then without intimacy, the relationship becomes stagnant. It does not go to the next level. Yeah. So So when to change which gear, or how to bring the right mix of the two, it comes with a period of actually knowing each other. So that is why Prabhupada says, before you begin to love Krishna, try to know Krishna. And how do we know Krishna? By hearing more about Krishna. So this is, love is a journey. And that journey is taken forward when we are sensitive in our dealings, when we have the actual true desire of actually serving the person whom we love. Yeah, and we are genuinely interested in taking this relationship ahead to the next level. It's a commitment. It's a genuine commitment. It's very easy for everything to fall down. This is the nature of this material world. Force of gravity. Anything you throw up, it comes down. It falls down effortlessly. But for you to hold it in a higher position, it takes effort. So if you want to work out on the microdynamics of relationship and always take ahead to the next level, it takes an effort, it takes energy, it takes mutual understanding, it takes an enthusiastic desire to always bring out the best in each other, and always do what is good for the relationship. When such intentions are pure, and we don't succumb to the laziness of the heart, then relationships flourish. And such relationships actually can truly empower people to become the best versions of themselves. Yeah, especially in companionships, between wife and husband. If we can truly serve each other well and inspire each other well, each of them in their own realms of service, they excel and they do unimaginable things. Yeah. So someday, we will speak about friendships, maybe. That is one of our topic. During that time, I will try to discuss more in detail. But the essence is that this right mixture of intimacy and respect and the right flavor, it is unique for each relationship. Yeah, because no two relationships are same, and it's unique for each relationship, and the right flavor comes through period of taking time to know each other and being sensitive to each other's needs. Yeah, and then understanding those dynamics as to how to express. Okay, so patience is the key, and enthusiasm is the means. I hope I could answer you, Vandita.
Yes, Mataji, thank you, sir.
Yeah. Yes, Meghna asked the question. Thank you. Okay, I understood that most important for me now is to become a good daughter. If someone tries to control in a negative way and take our service attitude casually, then what we should do, how to deal with the situation? Yes. Okay, it's a very good question. So sometimes service attitude, when we have the wrong boss, yeah, we're serving people who take us for granted, and when we keep on serving in the principles of Bhagavatam, but the person whom we are serving is wrong, they simply try to exploit us. They take it casually. Yeah, there are. This world is filled with such people who are who do not have gratitude in their heart, or who don't understand what real service is. So it's important whom we serve. Very, very important. So that is why here what is required is the right service attitude. Service attitude manifests in different ways. Like, for example, for a guru, his chastisement of the disciple is his service. Yeah, so apparently you will see how this chastisement, he's shouting at him, he's giving punishment to this student. How is that a service? It's simply an expression of his anger. How do you call it a service? No. You cannot know what is actually in the heart. You do not know what is actually in the heart of the teacher. If the teacher is simply ventilating his anger out of not being controlled, then that's not service. Okay, it's just a ventilation of his anger. But internally, his heart is, array. No, the students has been sent to be my Krishna, to bring out the best. This student has to be corrected. He has to be guided in the right path. And my chastisement will help him grow. If this is the attitude of the teacher, then his chastisement is a service to the student. Okay, so that is how you should keep service attitude means to understand what is beneficial to the other person. So here you're saying that some people take our service attitude casually. Then to such people, you should not render such unconditional service. You should know what works best, because by taking you casually, it's not going to benefit that person in any way, not you, right? So such a person does not deserve the service attitude. And of course, you're talking about this person being a natural authority, like a father or let's say a husband. Then one should be not expecting, because that person is there, is placed in he or she is placed in that position, and I am placed in this position of serving. Let me carry on with my service, no matter how that person is taking. Yeah. So your question is, I can answer it if I know whom you're referring to. Who's that person who's taking your service casually? If it is some person in the professional setup, then we should always draw lines. But if it's a person whom you're serving, like the husband or the parents, somebody, and they're taking your service attitude casually, you continue with your service and with your with the right flavors of respect or etc. In such case, maybe you may not be intimacy, but respect should always be there. And simply continue, because they are authorities given by the Supreme Lord, and serving them is your dharma. Yeah. Okay. So hope that helps. So it all depends on whom we are serving. Okay, thank you all. Thank you all very much. Hope this session helps us in taking one step closer to this beautiful quality of service attitude in our own practices and with our relationships around us. Thank you. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaura Bhaktavinda ki jai. Thank you all. Yes, Jyotsna?
Hare Krishna Mataji Dandavat Pranam. Can I ask one small question?
Yes, Jyotsna, please.
Like always it is said Patni Dharma is not to eat before husband eats, Namataji. But it is also needed to take care of our own health, because if we are healthy, only then we can serve our own family members. This always comes into my mind, what to do tomorrow if this happens.
Yes, okay, very practical question asked by Jyotsna. So one thing is to take care of the health, and one thing is to serve the husband. So yeah, in Kaliga, we have to be very practical and try to apply this as per our realizations and and also as per the time, place, circumstances. Okay, so I know of devotees. I mean, I'm just sharing my experience as per your questions. I know devotees, not even devotees. There is one Prabhuji's mother. Yeah, she's old lady. She's almost 60 years plus. Yeah. And, she never eats before her husband eats. And her husband had very, very, irregular timings because of his kind of nature of his job. He used to simply go out and he used to return home late. And even sometimes when he returns late, he never used to care about eating and all that. And, this lady, she never used to eat without serving her husband. And in this way, her health degraded over a period of time. Yeah. So her sons used to tell her, please do not do this. You're spoiling your health. She even developed some kind of gastric issues. And the doctors have also reprimanded her. If you do not eat your meals at regular times, your health is going to soon collapse. Even after such warnings, even after her health being deteriorated, she said, let my health deteriorate. I mean, this is what she told her sons, let my health deteriorate. What, I mean, so even if I leave the body, what's the big deal? You know, I'm doing my dharma. So this was the level of her realization. And she used to often quote, you know, this is how goddess Draupadi used to serve her husbands in the Pandavas. She never ate before they had finished eating. And this is what I have learned in my childhood. That this is the Patni Dharma, and this is what I am following. So this was her conviction. This was her level of her realization. She said, even if my health has to spoil, then that's fine. I'm just doing my dharma. I mean, she's solidly situated in her position. That means she's her understanding is that if I do my dharma well, my next life and next births are taken care of. Yeah, this is her realization. With that realization, she's firmly fixed in what she was doing. But if a person whose realizations are not up to that level artificially tries to imitate that, and when health gets spoiled, you know, look back and think, "Arey, what did I do? You know, in the name of doing my dharma, you know, I have spoiled my health," and you regret for it. That means you have not. It was your jnana is merely jnana. It is not vijnana. It's not realized knowledge. It's simply information. So one should act based on one's realizations. Okay, so I spoke about one level, that is being firmly fixed in your realizations and acting according to that, and not bothering about the consequences because you know where you're going. The next level, the practical way of dealing with this situation, what you just spoke, is also being sensitive to one's health, is to have a discussion with the husband. See, here where an Ayurvedic understanding will help us, like our Riddhi can also talk to us about this. You know, there are three types of bodies. There is Kapha, there is Vata, and there is Pitta. A person whose body is Pitta by nature, they have this Agni, a lot of Agni within their body. So they need to take frequent meals to keep that fire under control. So Kapha people, you know, their digestive fire is not so much. So the Kapha, Pitta people, they have to eat more number of times. So if the husband is Kapha and wife is Pitta, there's a huge problem. Yeah, because no, if the husband is Pitta, yeah, husband is Kapha and wife is Pitta, there's a problem. Why? Kapha husband, you know, he's not hungry as often, but when he eats, they eat a lot. But Pitta, a wife, poor thing, you know, she feels hungry often. And she has to wait until the Kapha husband has to finish his meal. By the time, you know, she'll have serious stomach ailments. Yeah. And so it's important to understand our Prakriti. So if the female has a Pitta body, she should understand, she should communicate that these are my intervals and timings of eating. And the husband also should take the responsibility of having well-specified timings when he eats, when they come for eating, especially if they come home for eating. And of course, you know, husband goes out for a job, he's not there at home. It's not that, you know, the husband calls and says, hey, you know, I finished eating. That's when the wife serves her plate and then starts. These are some impractical things in this day and age. But, you know, one can at least be respectful, have one meal together, you know, let us have dinner together as a family, where there is an exchange of affection, love, kindness. It depends on, you know, what kind of note you strike with your husband. So there are different combinations. Sometimes, you know, the wife always sees the husband as a superior. You know, there's one flavor of offering respect. There's only serve the husband first and then eat. And so there is another flavor where you strike a friendship flavor, where you sit together and eat. That's fine, absolutely fine. See, every relationship is unique. So ultimately, what should be the foundational principle is what pleases, what works in that relationship. Yeah, what is the expectation of my husband? Okay, it pleases my husband more if I sit with him and eat. Do that. It pleases him more when I serve him and, and he finishes and then I eat. Do that. So do what works. While also, being sensitive to one's own health, if the health is getting spoiled, and then communicate that. This is what helps works with my body. And if I have to maintain my health, these are my timings. How do we work this out? Definitely there will be a good communication. Yeah, these days, husbands are pretty sensitive. Nobody expects that, the wife serves. Only then she should have. Forget husbands, even gurus are very sensitive. It is said between guru and disciple also. Only after the guru finishes eating, then the disciple, when the guru says, now you may go and eat, only then the disciple should eat. If the guru does not say go and eat, the disciple should not eat. This is written in the Shastras. So, so an unconditional permission is generally given to all the disciples that, eat on time by the guru. Okay, so as per time, place, and circumstances, you should try to apply this injunctions. Okay, thank you all very much. And I'm sure, there is a lot of premarital training also that has been included in today's session. And I really pray that it helps. Yes, it's my pleasure, Meghna, Yagna, Shalini.
Mataji, I also want to ask, what about Vata body? Vata.
Vata. Riddhi will answer. Riddhi, would you like to answer this? She's an Ayurvedic specialist.
Mataji, actually, Vata is having not very regular. Sometimes they'll be very hungry, sometimes they'll be less hungry. So it depends on their Agni Bala.
See, again, Vata husband is also a difficult person to deal with. Okay. But it's always good to have fixed, actually, it is said that it's good to have fixed timings for eating. But one of the Ayurvedic specialists whom I know, he's also coming in Parampara. He said, in Ayurveda, there is no fixed time to eat. Whenever you're hungry, that is when you should eat. Especially, you should not eat when you have no hunger. So, okay, so these diets, regimens, and serving prasad and all that is, it's always worked out, what is the best possible in this given situation. Okay, so don't worry, Meghna. So once you're into it, you'll learn how to swim. But always keep the guiding pole star as service attitude, as what pleases Krishna, as what pleases his devotees. When you keep this guiding pole star as genuine service attitude, you will hardly go wrong. You're always on the right path. And Krishna, when you have this genuine service attitude, all the necessary intelligence will be given to you by Krishna himself. Dadami buddhi yogam tam. Yena mam upayantite. Tesham, so satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayantite. But that devotee who is always thinking of me, who is always glorifying me, I personally give them the intelligence by which they come back to me. So when your intelligence is fixed on that superior goal, all that is required is given to you. Just like, Ramji, I will end with this. So Ramji, when he was in the cave, Malyavanta Raghunath cave, and the Chaturmasya period was there, he was waiting for Mother Sita. There he saw a beautiful thing that, different streams of river from different directions were coming and forming a pool. They were running into a pool that was central. So looking at that beautiful scene, Ram tells to Lakshmana, he tells Lakshmana, oh Lakshmana, just as all these rivers from different directions are gushing into this pool, all the noble, virtues and all the good qualities automatically come and take shelter of the heart of a noble man. That is, if your heart is noble, if your heart is pure, if your intentions are pure, then all the good qualities come rushing into you, into your own heart, without any effort. Just like all these rivers are gushing into the pool. So when our attitude is genuine, that is to serve, then all intelligence that is needed to execute the service is given to us. Hope this well. Thank you. Thank you all very much. We'll end the session. I wanted it to be a 1 hour session, but it's running into 1.5 hours. Thank you all for your enthusiasm. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Dhanavad Pranam.
Dhanavad. Hare Bol. You can stop the recording. Thank you, Madhushri. Thank you, Ankita. Hare Bol. Ankita is another great example of service attitude. Yeah. She is, yes, my God, she's my batchmate in PhD in IIT Mandi. The way she serves is simply amazing. Whether it's, the flowers, the garlands that she makes, or how she inspires devotees around her, how she knows what their needs are and helps in advance so meticulously, so much on time, and with such genuine feeling. It just speaks so much about her, beautiful upbringing at her own home. Yeah. She's one person who's an example of this wonderful service attitude.